Laithwates are a large UK wine supplier. They're behind a number of people, for example, the Sunday Times Wine Club, etc. They're behind all of those kind of clubs that you sign up to, and you get these kind of flyers full out of magazines. Let's see how green they are. The first thing I did is I typed in Laithwaite Sustainability Report, always a good place to start. And I was looking for a report. I couldn't find one. And that's one of the biggest criticisms I've got of Laithwaites. I did find it difficult and confusing to figure out what they're doing. But there's lots of things in here, commitment to the planet, etc., commit to net zero. And I'll show you the sort of thing that you can find. This is a report by the Drinks Business, October 22. Largest DTC wine merchants, good. It's looking to establish a baseline of carbon footprint. Yeah, good. We like that. That's a good thing. Big aims, again, a good thing. Harvest Scope 1 DTC, GHG emissions. Well, Scope 1 and Scope 2. Scope 2 is quite easy. Scope 2, electricity, all you have to do to get rid of Scope 2 is switch to green electricity. That's quite straightforward. If you've got a lot of gas on site, for example, for heating, then that does mean, effectively scrapping your gas boilers and moving across to, ground source or air source heat pumps. Quite doable, but there is a cost involved with that. And here's the interesting one, reducing Scope 3 emissions by 25% in the same time frame. I suspect Laithwaites, the same as many other suppliers, have got this problem that the majority of their emissions are Scope 3. It's like a tip of an iceberg. Scope 1, Scope 2, the majority are going to be in Scope 3. It's glass, it's wine, it's shipping, it's bulk containers, it's all that sort of thing. Okay, so let's have a look down here a bit further on, and then I'll show you something else. So working on hand in glove with our suppliers, well, I quite like that. Working with supply chain is extremely important, especially for a company like Laithwaites. Building our own bespoke calculator, why would you do that? Anistic and many others have got fine calculators, just use theirs instead, but hey ho. Low carbon bottles, alternate packaging, glass packaging, paper bottles, bag-in-box up here. Yeah, good stuff, more of that. That's all good stuff. They also say down here that they're going to be looking at English low carbon footprint wine. Well, that's interesting. It's a recent thing that England's been producing sort of wine that I talk about anyway. And, the fact that it is local does mean it does have a lower shipping footprint. So that's a good thing, I think. Aluminium cans hadn't worked well. Well, fine. I'm always a bit suspicious about them, but maybe I shouldn't be. Now, that's the kind of thing that you can see in these kind of statements here by Laithwaites. To get the actual numbers, you have to go to the parent company of Laithwaites, or the registered company, which is Direct Wines Limited. So what I've done is I've gone into Companies House and I've pulled their latest set of accounts here, which is for the 2nd of July 21. They haven't yet released their 22 accounts. Interesting down here, they've got a turnover here of 448.1 million. If they've got over 500 staff, I suspect they probably have, then the minute that goes over 500 million, they are required by law to produce a better quality sustainability report called a TCFD report, Task Force for Climate Change Financial Disclosure. So they're just on that border now, because when I show you what's further down in this report, all their sustainability stuff, it's not great. It's not great at all. So that will change. By law, that will change. They're going to have to produce a TCFD report. It will have to have a full analysis of all of their operations. And, David Gates, the new CEO down here, it says down he's just been appointed. Maybe that's on his hit list for 2023. We'll see. So let's have a look down here at, I think we have to go to page 13, 14. 13 it starts. They've included in this report, this is the only information I can see on them, which is 448 million turnover. This is the only kind of hard numbers I can get. It's a bit disappointing. If you look up here, They've got a shared facility that they report. Fantastic. They're not just cutting it down to the minimum. But here, the following are including carbon dioxide, methane, nitrous oxide, hydrofluorocarbon. Oh my God. I mean, talk about padding a report out, it was just rubbish. So whoever wrote that bit deserves a slap on the wrist. In terms of the raw data down here, they haven't included everything. Number of estimates, that's fine. That's allowable in these reports, and it's quite usual, in fact. But look at the actual data they've got down here. It's not great. It's scant information. It's minimal requirement for legal compliance. And that's rather disappointing. I would expect a company like Laithwaite's to have a better report. That's my overall conclusion here. Okay. So what are they saying? Well, the majority of their emissions are scope 2, which is, as we all know, as we should all know by now, is electricity. That by far and away the majority of it. And they can get rid of those pretty easy just by switching to green electricity with reliable, good quality regos behind them. That's what they can do. So if they wanted to, they could drop their 580 tonnes here down to almost 100 tonnes just by switching across. As I say, they are going to be needing to do a TCFD report, and so that's what we're looking at on the screen should be, by this time next year, a lot better. A full quality scope 3 analysis of their full estate. And I'd be interested to see that, see what they're doing, and all the other bits and bobs that I found, see where they fit into the picture, see what kind of framework they're adopting. Do they go science-based targets? Don't they go science-based targets, etc., and see what they do. So, overall, let's have a think. What have we given them? I've given them a score of 0.5 point out of 5 for detail. It's poor on detail, very poor on detail. The quality of the plan itself, their plan to reduce, I've given a 0. There's no plan that I can see. There's different initiatives, but there's nothing tying them all together. The actions taken, however, they are doing stuff. It's not all bad. They're looking at lowering the footprint of the packaging that they use, typically the wine bottles, the wine cartons. So that's good. Quite like that. Transparency, how transparent are they? 1 out of 5. Not very at all. There's some information, but as I said earlier, padding it out with nitrous oxide and sulfur hexafluoride. No, don't like that. Effort 2.5. They're doing something. They are doing something. So they get 2.5 out of 5 for effort. Overall, total rating 7 out of 25. Not good. Not good at all. And hopefully, if they do cross that 500 million TCFD threshold, we should see something better next year. Okay, so there you go. Hope that was useful. See you next time.